Welcome to today's episode of the Daddy's Girls Talk series. We are real women, Real Midlife, Real Talk. And I have the amazing co hosts, authors, and speakers, Jacqueline Thorne and Aida Sanchez. Jacqueline Thorne, you can reach her at Lady J Thorne across social media platforms. And if you like to reach out to her via email, ladyjthorne at gmail.com. And our amazing co host, the Aida Sanchez, speaker, author, and coach at I am Ada Sanchez across all social media platforms. You can reach her as well on email info at iamadasanchez.com. And you know our girl is still traveling. So we holding the fort down in absentia of Miss Ada Sanchez. And I'm so excited that although I am traveling today, I have great sound, great Wi-Fi. I shouldn't get kicked out this time and miss out on the good bits, good bits.
Yes.
And today's episode, oh, I forgot to mention today's episode is season 2, episode 8, and we're talking about forgiveness is for you. Okay.
Good evening.
Yay!
Woo! Let me tell
So
you how
where
important this
you want to
message is
start?
tonight. My power went out. My whole grid went out less than an hour before we went on. So I
Yeah.
was texting Lisa and saying, the message is stop trying to be stopped. I was willing to go to my car, broadcast from the car, because we were going to get this out.
Yes.
Most
Yes.
definitely, most definitely. So, how has your week been? How was Nola? I know that I had
Nola.
a good time.
Ah, I love the energy of Nola. I
Mm-hmm.
love this. It has its own spirit. And I really enjoyed myself. It was a quick trip, but a fantastic one nonetheless.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and now I am in beautiful South Florida to spend Thanksgiving with my sister and brother-in-law and my parents and the big host of family
Wonderful.
on this side. So yeah, excited.
Good, good,
How
good.
about you? How about you?
I'm going to be a guest this year for Thanksgiving. I'm going to be sort of local in Northern Virginia this year, and I'm looking forward to it, to being a guest and
Yeah.
giving myself some grace. I was about to, and I mentioned last week that I might come to the kitchen today, this episode, and make a few things, talk about some things, but I'm like, you know what? It's okay. It's okay not to have your back aching and all of that, even if it's just a small portion. That's my good news. That I said no, don't do it. It's not necessary. I
Hmm.
have had many, 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 many nights cooking Thanksgiving dinner, whether I was a guest or not. In
Wow.
fact, I remember. Oh my gosh, I had a good friend. Her name is Lisa as well,
Hmm.
and she was relocating to Atlanta. And a friend of mine had another friend that I knew that we were going to go over to his house, and he was going to host Thanksgiving. When we get there as guests, he was like, "Well, my mama didn't come over yet. I don't know where she at. Turkey and everything in the kitchen. Which one of y'all gonna go in there and cook?" I was like, "What are you talking about?" I had
Excuse me, pardon me.
we did
Yes.
not eat. We did not eat until about 9 o'clock because when I arrived, then I had to cook.
Mm-mm. No, ma'am. No, sir. Mm-mm.
I'm talking about taking the gizzards out and everything. Nothing was done. Nothing. But I'm glad I know how if I need to. Because not everybody know how. It was worth it. But my time. So while I love hosting, I'm glad to be a guest this year.
Well, that's a that so we talked about how interesting today's topic is,
Yes.
that forgiveness is for you
Mm-hmm.
and about a traditional black family. For those that do not know, a typical black family Thanksgiving is almost like a family reunion, and where everybody gets together, your aunties, your cousins, the mothers of the family, the matriarchs of the family, and folks get in your business, they talk about things, and sometimes feelings get involved, right? Things get emotionally
All of the
heated.
times, feelings get involved. I know sometimes.
And people's emotions get involved and feelings get involved. And some people come angry from last Thanksgiving, right? And they're bringing that baggage. And it's supposed to be a time where we're thankful, but it's very challenging,
Mm-hmm.
and at least for me personally, to
Yes.
be thankful when we're holding on to some baggage in the form of unforgiveness.
Right.
So,
I have so two things while we were getting prepared, right? So let's just break down what forgiveness means. Forgiveness means different things to different people, but in general, it involves an intentional decision to let go of resentment and anger. Then I just did a quick Bible search while we were preparing to come in,
mhm,
and two scriptures stuck out to me. The first one is um, in Matthew.
mhm,
Jesus said, no, Peter's Peter came to Jesus and asked, I'm sorry, this is Matthew 21 to 23. Peter then said to Jesus and asked, Lord, how many times shall I forgive my brother or sister who sins against me? Up to 7 times? Jesus answered, in red, I tell you, not 7 times, but 77 times. And then the other one that stuck out to me was Mark 11. Get rid of all bitterness, rage, and anger, brawling, and slander, along with every form of malice.
mm,
So I think that's a good way to set the stage. But that's outside. And we talked a little bit before we came in about it starts with you, right? We talked a little bit about the interview with Nia Long and Jeezy, and how that was a good platform to come together, men and women talking about our issues historically. But what stuck out,
trauma,
right, trauma,
trauma,
collective trauma, right?
yes,
And what stuck out was about the younger version of yourself, right? Protecting the younger version of yourself and forgiving yourself. So we talked about how pivotal, and it can't go anywhere else without you thinking about the younger version of yourself. And
yeah.
I just,
Mhm.
yeah.
So if you haven't seen that video with Jeezy and Nia Long, I thought it was amazing. When I stumbled upon it, I stopped and watched the entire thing. It was very enlightening because the both of them shared about, because we're a sum total of our experiences, right? Everything that we experience in childhood, how that has impacted and how it does impact us now in our relationships with ourselves and with others, because they're in their 50s too, right?
Right.
And how dealing with the trauma and unforgiveness and having to take the time to acknowledge. And when I say fully appreciate, I'm not saying that it happened in a positive way, but fully appreciate the trauma and things that happen in such a way to be able to forgive ourselves first and let it go, right? Mm.
Yeah, that's like that invisible backpack or weights that are on your shoulder carrying, again, the bag is loaded up, and without settling or letting things go, you just carrying more and more baggage
Yep.
with you, right? And it may be invisible, but you can see it in posture. You can see it in not being able to have somebody not being able to have eye contact with you. You can see it in a very ways, right? You can see it in the physical, your physical
Right.
aspect. If you change drastically, if you gain weight, if you lost weight, it's you again, you can't hide from yourself. To quote Teddy Pendergrass, everywhere you go, there you are. Right?
Look, the the book according to Teddy P.
The book
Yes. Yes.
Yes, that's one of my favorite quotes. Everywhere you go, there you are.
Yes.
And it's so important to be in touch with the younger version of yourself that you put on these masks and wearing these different masks and burying things again, collective, just trauma after trauma, or forgetting and going about it or not dealing with it is not healing it, right? It's still an open wound in your
Mm.
heart, in your spirit, in your mind. This mind won't let stuff go.
And it's not, and like you say, and it's really not invisible.
Right.
We think because we don't talk about it, it doesn't exist, but that's not true. We think because we don't journal about it and because we don't admit it, it doesn't exist, and nothing could be further from the truth
Right.
because it comes out. It comes out. It comes out in our interactions, it comes out in our relationships. And until we unpack it and forgive ourselves, then we can forgive other people. So for example, when we're younger, I don't know about you, but as a young person, at some point in time, I just thought my parents were cuckoo crazy, right? The things that they were teaching me, and telling me how I needed to be, and so on and so forth. This doesn't make sense. They don't understand. That was their time, not my time. Um, and rebelling, right, against some things that I was taught and how I was brought up in. But then you become older and realize, oh my gosh, that's what this was about.
Mhm.
That's why this was important. This is where this fits in. And until you come full circle and acknowledge, oh, I really did need to learn this. This was important. We can't move on to the next. We talking about we want next level living. We talking about prayer, Jabez, enlarge my territory, and all of this good stuff. We going into the, ending up uh the year finishing strong and looking at our goals and aspirations. But when we harboring and holding on to unforgiveness, it is hard to progress and go to the next level because, like you say, that's a backpack, that's weight. Anytime you climb into the next level, you got to drop some weight. You can't, those people who climb those mountains, come on somebody, they
Mhm.
don't have on a backpack. They don't have on one of those backpack with the tent and the sleeping bag and the water bottle and all that kind. They don't have that on them. In order to traverse that mountain and get to the top, some of them, they're packing as light as they can with just the bare necessities. Unforgiveness is like us carrying an additional 50 pounds and wondering why
Mhm.
we cannot move to the next level, the next phase, the next chapter.
Right. That weight is making you sink, right? You
Hmm.
can't elevate with the weight, right? And the only way you can do that, and the only substance that allows you to do that is water, right?
Mm.
That's when you lose, you know, the gravity changes. So yeah, you can't take but so much in that backpack.
What is it? Who was it? Erica Badu, Pack Light, Bag Lady. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta pack light.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You gotta
Yeah,
pack light.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Because even in weight training, you have to eat a certain way to even weight train. You can't, I mean, even when you bulk up the body, and I'm not a personal trainer, I've had one and all of that, but even when in weight training, I had to eat a certain way in order to properly weight train
Mm-hmm.
and build up muscle,
Yes.
right?
Your muscle. I remember I used to go to the aquatic center in PG County, and
Hmm.
I remember that the most of the class needed noodles. And when I talked to the instructor, she explained to me how, if you think about how, like oil and vinegar, right? The oil floats to the top of the
Yeah.
water, um, and that's fat. He says, so you're more dense, you're solid, and they have more fat, and fat floats. I was like, oh,
Oh, so that's why I have no problem floating. Okay, I get it. Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Thank you, water aerobics. Yes.
But I didn't understand the concept, right? Again, I'm thinking I'm being left out, or why is it that the noodle would just shoot up out of the water, right? For me, I couldn't, because I'm weight trying to hold it down, and it has to be free, and they're able to float, a little easier. It might be a little vice versa, but that analogy of the fat floating, or
Mm,
you don't need it because or maybe I needed a noodle because I wouldn't float. But yeah, um the concept is the same, right? We need to tread water.
yeah.
Right? You need to
Yes.
survive, you need to live, you need to flourish, you need to be a conduit of some sort. And if you have those weights on you, it's going to be harder for you to do that. It's going to be harder for you to see. It's going to be harder for you to be received. It's going to be harder for you to get your point across, because you're wearing that raw emotion again, that you think that you're hiding by not thinking about it or padding it in some kind of way, right? Again, we are not
Right.
licensed therapists, physicians, any of that. However, we're
We're,
seasoned.
we're just speaking experientially, right?
Yes, yes.
The
Mhm.
conversations that we have are ones that we wish we had
Yes.
had with our mothers and our mothers' mothers, the mothers in the church, and those who had gone on before us that didn't share,
Right.
right? That didn't have these conversations, and the importance of forgiving ourselves, because when you forgive yourself, you just admit, you know what, I messed up.
Hmm.
I
Right.
missed it.
Right. And if you can be forgiven, right? God has forgiven you for some things.
Right.
Forgive
Right.
as God has forgiven you. It's the same for
Yeah.
yourself first. First, forgive yourself, right? It takes a couple of times sometimes before you get it, before you
Yeah. Oh
understand
yeah.
the
Absolutely.
wisdom that was coming. Because I think the problem was a disconnect. We were thrown the wisdom, you shouldn't do that, or you should do this, but not knowing why, right?
Right.
Like that didn't make sense. And our um parents or ancestors,
Mhm.
thinking that they're protecting you by do as I say, not as I do. And there's a reason. But in between that instruction, we're curious by nature.
Yep.
And we're going to say, that was them. That don't mean it's going to be me. But as we talked before we came in, when it's a lesson or a knowledge that versus something that you heard, you
Right.
understand it better. Like, oh, okay.
Yes.
I know it for myself, not what somebody else told me. And then you don't become the vicarious lesson learned, right?
Yes.
It's so hard to listen to somebody else instructing you not to do something without giving you more depth, right? Like there might be the bread, but there was no lettuce, there was no pickle,
Right.
there was no meat in between for you to be fulfilled enough to say, okay, I get it.
Yes.
Let's
I
let's not do that. We
and
often have to bump
yeah.
our heads several times.
I watched yesterday I watched, which I didn't know was on until somebody told me, um what is it? Tyler Perry's documentary.
Yeah, I watched it Sunday.
I watched it yesterday, and he too talked about trauma, and but he also talked about forgiveness,
Yes.
and
Yes.
he talked about having to forgive folks and just release them and let them go so that he could be fully who he saw God said he was to be.
Right. And I also love that it gave more definition to Madea and the stories and the
Yeah.
titles of those stories and why they were, right? Not really making the connection until, you watch the documentary. He used his trauma through his art, right? And that helped heal a lot of people vicariously, right?
Yes.
Because it's a common story. Our story is common to us. Like it's
Yes.
happens again and again. So I really did enjoy it. And they didn't really touch on it a lot, but I thought it was very interesting. Spike Lee um, had made some sort of direct.
Disparaging.
Yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
I remember that. And then I remember that when he opened up his studios, he named one of the sound stages or one of the buildings after him as well. And again, not hearing it from him, but somebody else reporting saying, I wonder, has he come full circle? He, had his comments before, but look at him now, right?
And and it comes to, even if he hasn't, that's why forgiveness is for you.
Yes, yes.
Because
Right, because he
even
could
if
be a
the
bigger
other
person.
person, yes, because forgiveness is for us because we can let it go and we can be fully actualized and fully realize who we're supposed to be because we let that stuff go,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
Because Spike Lee has blazed the trail even for a Tyler Perry or
Right.
for some of the others to even be able to do what they do because Spike Lee did what he
He
did.
did.
He
Right.
was the first,
Yes.
right? And
Yes.
so and for but when we forgiveness being for us is when we let that shiznit go, okay? All the garbage go. We
Mhm,
can show up at Thanksgiving dinner free,
mhm.
fulfilled, and whole
Yeah.
so that when we walk in the door and somebody says, "Ooh, child, you looking a little thick there," right? Don't take it personal. Or if somebody says, "Another Thanksgiving and you showing up by yourself, you couldn't get nobody between last year and this year," or right? or I heard, or whatever folks say, that I don't believe that they intentionally trying to be harmful and hurtful. But whatever they say, you can let it go and let it
Mm-hmm.
roll off your back because you dealt with it. You forgiven yourself. You can
Right.
forgive them, and you
Mm-hmm.
can keep it moving
Mm-hmm.
and have a beautiful holiday
Right.
dinner.
A memory, make creating a new memory, right?
Yes,
You
yes,
know, laughing until you crying, not
yeah.
crying because you can't
I
laugh,
know.
right?
Yes, yes. And when you forgive yourself and release yourself, you can also know, because we talked about pursuing and protecting your peace.
Yes.
Okay? When you forgiving yourself and you forgiving others, when it's time for you to go, because you are pursuing and protecting your peace, oh, look at the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's time for me to go. Whether you got something else to do or not, it's
Yes.
time to go. And because we are grown, and because we have our own transportation,
Mm.
and because
Come
there's
on now.
power in having your own keys, having
Yes.
somebody or Uber
Yes.
or Lyft or
Mm-hmm.
any other form of public transportation or Pat and Charlie or a
Mm-hmm.
bicycle, whatever
Right.
it may be, you can raise up and liberate yourself out of the company of the individuals that may be challenging the pursuit of your peace and
Mm-hmm.
the protection of your
Right.
peace.
Right.
We give you permission to
To
leave.
yeah.
That's it. Forgive, forget, relax, relate, release, hug everybody.
Right.
Ooh, auntie, it's so good to see you. Kisses and
Mm-hmm.
hugs. Ooh, cousin,
Mm-hmm.
it's so good to see you. Kisses and
Mm-hmm.
hugs and all of that, and kisses and hugs and all of that. And before they even realize it, I thought I saw her
Yeah.
here. I thought I saw him here. Did you
Now
see? Yeah.
we have to give some outlets for folks who roll with other people who can't do that, right? Or they out of town and can't
Look,
do that. So you need to go take a walk around the block
that's
or down the
it.
street and get some air with your favorite cousin or auntie or
Yes.
somebody. I know somebody spot checking you like I got you, cuz. Let's go take a walk. Let's go to another
Go
part
take
of
a
the house
walk.
or
That's
apartment.
right. That's right. Or ask somebody for the keys to the car and you just sit in the car for a little while.
Mhm.
And then come tell him give me 10. Give me 10 minutes. And then
Take
come on
10.
back.
Right?
And then come on back and check on me.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we just feel like, oh gosh, I have to sit through this. And you
Mhm.
don't.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
don't. We give you permission. You do not have
Right.
to sit through that.
Change the conversation, change
Yeah.
the environment, change the scenery,
Yeah.
swap seats,
Yes.
shift it
Yep.
around.
Sit at the kids' table.
Something.
Go sit with the
Yes.
children.
Mhm.
Go sit with the children. We couldn't wait.
Go back to the children's
Oh
table.
my goodness. What are you talking about? Go back to the children. There was some, now that we're grown, there was some value
Mhm. Mhm. Right. And not
in
being at
being.
that table. Not being at that table. Oh my gosh. I don't know why I'm thinking of we talked at the job. We had like a pre-Thanksgiving get together with my
Mhm.
group, and we started talking about favorite. Well, one of my colleagues, him and his wife, they started sort of a marathon after Halloween, like starting Christmas movies, right? Just kind of rolling them in. The Christmas movie that just came into my head was I think it was called This Christmas. No, that's not it. It's David E. Talbert's version with Danny Glover and Monique, and that
One of my favorites.
love that movie. But when they went to when what was it going to go get Charlene? What was the name of the weapon? Charlene.
Oh, when she went to go get.
But we talked about the kids' table. But even the kids knew, right? Even though they were at their own table, when things was getting hot and heavy, they knew it was time for them to go. And I like that one of the kids set up the little video so they could look
He said it
downstairs.
right there. Yes.
But the
Yes.
kids know, like, oh, it's time for us to leave the atmosphere because it's about to go down. Like, please don't bring her out. Please don't bring her out. But yeah, there is some value to not being at the adults table, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just because you are of age doesn't mean that you're mature, right?
Yes.
So age doesn't always mean maturity. That comes either before or after. When we have a lot of grown,
Yes.
or adult males, adult females, that don't mean that they've learned all the lessons. So yeah, protect your peace is the goal, right? Protect your peace, whatever that means, right?
Yes.
And that might mean for some folks, I know I talked to a couple of folks and they said, I'm just happy just to be chilling out by myself. I don't want to deal with it. Right?
I've heard quite a few of those. Yes.
Like,
yes.
No, I'm gonna watch the parade.
Yes.
I'm going, we're going to eat what's here, and then that's going to be that. And that's okay too,
It is.
Okay.
It definitely is.
Mm-hmm.
Because and who was it? Yanla or someone said, holding on to unforgiveness is like eating poison, and you eating poison and expecting the other person to die. They're going on with their life, right? They're going on with their existence. Thanksgiving is going to come and go. It's only so many hours at the day. Now, don't get me wrong. I understand all the prep beforehand. You would think all the prep that we do, that it lasted for days, but it doesn't. Mm-hmm. It's only so many hours. Right. And then it's on planning Christmas and things like that. And what are we going to do for the next holiday? And how are we going to bring in a new year? So we have 5 more Wednesdays, I think, in the year. We want to finish the year strong. Yeah. And part of that is letting go of the weights that so easily beset us. And unforgiveness is one of them. Mm-hmm. Let's release unforgiveness. Let's forgive all the people and situations and circumstances that we may have felt like hindered us throughout the year, may have been stumbling stones, some things may have ended that we didn't think would end. Some things occurred that we had no control over. Some people made some choices that had we been able to influence them, they would have made some different choices because their choices inadvertently impacted us. And ask me how I know. Let's forgive so we can let go of that weight, so that we can float, shout, sing, dance, celebrate our way into celebrating the birth of Christ and going into the new year with a new vision and a new idea and a new approach, lighter weight, even if not physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Right. Because let me tell you, what I know for sure in my knower is that the assignment that the good Lord has for each of us, which is different, is going to require us being nimble, agile, flexible, and have the ability to bust a move when we need to bust a move. And I don't know about you. I love to dance. And it's hard to bust a move weighted down with the wrong shoes, too heavy clothes, right? And not dressed appropriately for the situation. And we take it back to the Bible. David, when he went to go fight Goliath, people were
Mm-hmm.
giving them his armor, giving him their armor, giving them their tools and devices. He put that stuff on. This
Mm-hmm.
ain't for me.
Right.
This not my thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I tell you what is my thing. Lightweight. I travel light. Let me reach in
Mm-hmm.
my little pocket,
Right.
pull out my slingshot,
Mm-hmm.
reach in my other pocket, get some
A
smooth
stone.
stones.
Mm-hmm.
But what people overlook when they read the story of David and Goliath is that it's recorded in scripture. It said David ran to Goliath. Not from,
Mm-hmm.
not around.
Mm-hmm.
He ran to him because he knew he was equipped with the tools necessary to tackle the assignment. What is it that we need to run to? What is it that we need to let go? Whose armor are we trying to put on that we just need to let that stuff go
Mm-hmm.
and reach in our pocket for what we know?
That makes me think about stepping into the pain that we talked about
Hmm.
before, right? Um, it takes courage to walk into the pain, right, or the possible pain, right?
Yeah.
But it's that same concept, right? Use the tools that you know, or that what is equipping you to
Yes.
get there, right? Because there's a wonderful prize on the other side of that,
Yes.
right? A
Yes.
conquering, a knowing, a wisdom, and sticking to what you know, right? And dropping those weight, traveling light, right?
Yeah.
Pack light, like Erica Badu, pack light to move forward.
Yeah.
I love it.
And like Nia Long was saying, and thank you. But because of the experience that I had and being able to forgive, thanking the situation and circumstance, because of that, I now know what I'm made of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thank you, because I know now that that didn't kill me,
Mm-hmm.
that I survived. Thank you, because now I have a stronger prayer life. Thank you, because now I know who my real friends are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, because now there's some lesson, there's something that we glean that we would not have gleaned otherwise. So I'm going to forgive you.
I liked the section when she talked about that I don't give up on people that I love ever.
Mm,
And sending love
she did.
from where you are
Yeah.
and having that distance that we talk about. That I can
Yeah.
love you from a distance. All the value in that. I can love you from a distance
Yeah.
because without the distance is bringing me pain. It's hurting me. And so I need to let it go.
Yeah.
Right? That doesn't mean that you cannot still love somebody from afar,
Right.
right? You know, that you pray for them, that you love them from a distance, that you hope that even they grow out of this, right? And the
Yeah.
next time they get an opportunity that maybe it's going to be better and they learn from it. Again, we have things that we've done that we've been forgiven for, and it just looks different from your perspective because your
Yes.
toe got stepped on.
Yes.
you know
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. And your heart is broken. You're the one disappointed. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It looks different. It lands different. Yes. 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 And yes again.
Right. We grow from those scars, right?
We do.
And those badges, right? It might be, gray hairs, right? Like, I earned these gray hairs, right?
Yeah.
There is some growth, and there is some significance to getting to the other side, right? And so,
Yes.
like you said, surviving, that you can survive, and it will be better. It
Yes.
may take some time, but there is still better. There is still an after, right?
Yes.
If we look back to the last time, you know, that you went through something traumatic or that's painful, and that you were looking for an apology, right? And not
Right.
those type of apologies that, if I hurt you, or if you felt, those are those are
That's
not,
not an
that's
apology.
not an apology, right? If you felt that, no,
Hmm.
that's not an apology. It's not.
Yeah.
Right. And you sometimes will never get that from the source that you're
Right.
seeking it. Right. I have a chapter in my book that is a sorry, um, because it's something that somebody's seeking, and you can't always get it from that source. And I
Right.
learned that from, unfortunately, having the subject of pain be somebody who has passed, right? And not being able to get that, or get that resolved. And I speak, and that's, one of the focal points of my cheerleading, my coaching, is dealing with, abandonment, detachment, and how do you do that when the person is not there? How about the
Yeah.
person is here, but they are unwilling to face even their own stuff, right? Their own
Yeah.
baggage, right? So they can't give it to you, and sometimes you
Right.
have to give it to yourself. And so again,
Right.
it's a practice and forgiving yourself first, right? You know better, you do better now,
Right.
and maybe you're not as um liberal with your love, and who gets to be loved by you, right?
Yes. You
But
you mentioned that. I like that. Who gets to be loved?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Who gets
yeah,
that privilege? Because
right. Everybody, right.
that is a privilege.
Everybody does not warrant your time, attention,
Yes.
energy, love, and environment, right?
Yeah.
You have to be selective. Like, we have many people who, that their blood family, it just, it's not such a loving. So you get to choose who your
Yeah.
family is, right? It doesn't have to always be, or it's not always, unfortunately, it's not the people that we're related to, right?
Yes.
But the people who take care of your heart and your time and your attention, and who check on you, and who want the best for you, right?
Yep.
That they want to love, that's where you get your healing, from another source, is the whole point, right? You start with yourself. It's not necessarily going to come from somebody who harmed you. However, you know, God sends angels all the time, to
Yeah.
take care of his daddy's girls, his daddy's
Yeah.
boys, daddy's men. Yeah.
Yeah. His earth angels.
Hmm.
Well, we look forward to hearing about next week, hearing about your Thanksgiving, if you did the Black Friday thing, if you
That's
yes,
Dolores. Hmm.
yes, who gets to be loved, right? And who gets to be loved by us? That's
Yeah.
important because love is a
Hmm.
choice.
Mhm.
Love is a choice.
Mhm.
It is a choice for sure, for sure.
Right.
Well, thank you so much. We talked about forgiveness is for us. We going into Thanksgiving tomorrow. Relax, relate, release. Let
Mhm.
you know, forgive ourselves, forgive other folks, so we can enjoy our meal, our family time together. Um, we can help somebody else, and that's just another step for us to finish. Yes, for us to finish this year
Strong.
strong.
I won't be here next week. Remember,
That's
and I
right.
that Ada, we switched seats. I think Ada is back and I'm out. I know you will carry the torch. I
I'll hold it down. I
know you
promise.
will. I know you can.
I
Um,
promise. I
if
promise.
Yeah, if I feel up to it, I'll just sort of join, but I won't. I'll be in the background, but
Okay.
for right now, I'm going to say I won't be available. I'm going to take the time I need for my procedure. Thank
Yes.
you for your
Yeah.
prayers in advance. And I'm looking forward to hearing about Turkey Day and
Yeah.
surviving and deciding to do something different, right?
Yes.
We know it's all going to be good. And
Yes.
we can't pick our family, but we can pick our friends. So just love them. Just love them. Just,
Yes. Just
just
love
love
them.
'em. Mhm.
And so I wanted to share. I wonder if I can do it this way. So I wanted to share the picture. So I have a new video, a ocean video, because y'all know I love the beach. I love the ocean. And so I wanted to share. Will it come up?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
So that's a picture of me doing this, the ocean video that we're gonna close with today.
Mhm.
Squatting down, getting as low. How low can you go? Uh,
I was gonna say she's kind of low.
How low can
Low
you
can
go?
you
So
go?
I went down as low as I could to get the footage for our out video
Outro.
outro. Yes,
Mhm.
our outro.
Mhm.
So you all enjoy. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. We thank God for you. We thank God for folks that give us feedback offline.
Yes.
It's
Keep
quite
it coming.
entertaining. Yes,
Keep it
keep it
coming.
coming. Um, we so appreciate yes, we so appreciate you all. You just can't know how thankful we are for you. And tonight, as you lay your head down on a pillow of peace, think about who you need to forgive and start with yourself first. See you next week.